What's happening? Andy here. I am joined today by two people, Matt Buttrey of PaperCut and Ross Wood of ecoprintQ. How are you guys doing today?
Good,
Doing
man.
great, man.
Great to see you. Great to see you. Special guest Matt Buttrey joins us from the future. It is actually tomorrow there in Australia. Unfortunately for Matt, it's also winter, I hear. It's beautiful here in Rochester, New York, Western New York, where I am. Matt, tell us who is PaperCut? What do you do for PaperCut? What's happening down there in Australia?
Well, it's cold and it's early, but it's closer to the weekend. So that's a good thing, right? Yeah. So you probably know PaperCut really well. We're a print management organization headquartered out of Melbourne, Australia. We're a global organization, around 300 people. Oh my gosh, I've been around forever now, 10 years at PaperCut, and I'm an industry guy as well, Andy, as you know. But yeah, I'm a vertical lead. So I'm actually a product manager by trade, but I look after everything that has a healthcare flavor that comes into the PaperCut ecosystem, comes across my desk generally.
Very cool. So I've been down there to your offices in Melbourne. Very, very cool offices. I do have to ask, I know a little PaperCut culture. What number are you? You've been there a long time. You sound like you're more of a veteran. So PaperCut is famous for having numbers, right? And so Chris is number one, Chris Dance, their leader. And everybody, the early guys are single digits. And if you're a newer person, you've got 3 digits in it, right? So where are you? Where do you fall in?
Well, I've got a really unlucky number. So I started at 17, but I've gradually worked my way to 13. So I hope that's not like ominous, but yeah.
All right. Well, I wasn't sure if you guys moved up or if you kept your numbers. So that's good. So
No, apparently it moved.
Maybe you keep it at 17 until until somebody ahead of you takes a little retirement. That's pretty good. 13. That's definitely tip top up there, right up to one of the originals.
Small organization.
Very cool.
When I first started, yeah, you're right. But now look at us. It's a very different organization these days.
Yeah. You guys have grown. You're one of the biggest, if not the biggest, in the print management world. And one of the ways you guys get those products out to the dealers, the resellers who watch these videos, my audience, companies like ecoprintQ. So Ross Wood, you're from ecoprintQ. Tell us a little bit about what you do for them, and maybe take a step back and give us the intro. Who is ecoprintQ? What do you guys do for the dealer community?
Yeah, sure. So name's Ross Wood. I am the healthcare vertical specialist, and ecoprintQ, we're an authorized solution center. So products like PaperCut, we're typically the backbone of pre-sales, sales, and support for the resellers in the different regions of, you've got North America, Central America. We actually work in LATAM as well. So everything from Canada all the way down to the southern tip of South America, ecoprintQ covers it as an authorized solution center for several products, including PaperCut. And I'm here to serve as the healthcare specialist. I wish I was cool enough to know my number, but that I don't have.
Make one up.
I'm 69. No, I'm kidding.
I've been down there.
50.
I've been down there to those offices as well. Evers and Alfredo and the team, Dominic and all those guys down there in was it Miami Lakes, I think. Beautiful offices. So you're actually in Denver, if I remember correctly, right?
I am in Denver, but I am still a fan of Miami, where we do have our office. And
who isn't?
Absolutely. Miami Heat. Hope that doesn't get me in trouble.
Yeah, well, it might in Denver, but so you mentioned healthcare, and you're both healthcare focused, and it's no coincidence, right? So we're here to talk a little bit about healthcare today, and why don't we start with you, Ross? Why don't you tell us what's ecoprintQ been up to? What's I've seen you guys at a couple of the trade shows, but I haven't really run into you specifically. What's going on in your world with PaperCut, with ecoprintQ, with everything you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's quite a lot. And just to kind of clarify, it is intentional that we have Matt and myself, because we work together a lot behind the scenes, having meetings, talking about strategy, talking about what we could be doing to really go after the healthcare vertical. And I try to act as an extension of PaperCut and providing those services. But as ecoprintQ, what we've been doing, between planning in person, thank God we're doing that again, as well as virtual events and doing this this new dedicated support channel for healthcare, we've really been busy. And really we've been actually officially dedicating the support for about 2 years to healthcare, but we're having a lot of fun with it. We've had a lot of growth. And as you know, healthcare comes with its own challenges, requirements, just makes every day interesting. That's for sure. So very interesting there. I could actually talk a little bit more specific, if you like, as
Yeah.
to
Tell us what, what are you guys doing for the healthcare? I know you have tons and tons of different products and services. PaperCut's a big chunk of what you do, but specifically focused on healthcare. Where does all that tie together, and how does PaperCut work in your world?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're running into a lot of unique requests, things like Citrix environments with VDI, high
Mhm.
availability, and I'm going to be straightforward, as simple as it sounds. A lot of healthcare customers are just simply asking to reduce the number of support tickets, especially as it relates to print. So what we've been trying to do is help our dealers to get more comfortable going after this space, and really trying to help them out so that when they come across some of these challenges, they don't feel as nervous or as worried about it. We've been doing it for a while, have had a lot of success. And I mean, heck, just take VDI, for example. Have you ever heard of virtual desktop infrastructure?
Only through you guys when I saw you guys at I'm trying to remember which conference I saw you at with the VR stuff that you had everybody doing demos, and but yeah, that's where I heard it first.
Yeah, so VDI, or virtual desktop infrastructure, it's one of those things that we're just seeing a tremendous amount of requests and asks from customers specifically. They either already have it in place, they're talking about implementing it, or they are in the process of a rollout. And so there's some good reasons why, and what we've been trying to do is help educate our partners on what they can run into with this, some of the challenges, and also how we can solve those challenges, especially with PaperCut and as it relates to the healthcare space. So everything from VDI to high availability and reducing those support disk tickets, our real big thing is just trying to really make our resellers comfortable having the conversation with end users, including if I have to help support it.
So Matt, over to you. So how does PaperCut fit into this, and what do you do to enable an ecoprintQ to help end users in the field, when you're designing, and how do you work with ecoprintQ in that capacity, as far as making sure the customers get what they want and it works the way they want it to?
Yeah, so I'll just touch on why Ross and I have the same title. So we've been in this, we've been around for a long time, right? 20 odd years. But, more recently in the last 3 or 4 years, we've had a real focus on the healthcare vertical. And the idea of having Ross focus on this particular customer segment is that Ross is like an extension of our broader team. So, ecoprintQ, as you know, they're our feet on the street. So much closer to the market through the reseller network than we are, because we only pretty much sell through the channel. So yeah, Ross and I mean, we must talk daily about customer challenges, about what's coming up, about the events, about the players in the industry. And generally that sort of like culminates in, mutual customer implementations. So we're often on calls together solving these problems. But really, what these customers are saying to us, like you might go to a trade show and, you've got all of these wares that you're talking about, PaperCut's super comprehensive. And people will wander up to the booth and they say, don't worry about print management. We just want to print, right? We want to print. We want to print responsibly, but we can't because of these back-end systems. So Ross talks about, VDI environments, but like that's one of many players in the market that makes printing quite challenging in these, larger organizations. So, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're not interested in compliance. Like, absolutely, we're interested in helping and supporting our customers with compliance concerns, but and interoperability, so integrations with other services to make it a more consistent and sort of fluid experience for the users walking up to the panel of the device or pressing Control P. But really, if you get down to it, what we're trying to help people mostly in this space is getting the right print job into the appropriate printer or the appropriate MFD, and that's the real challenge that we're working on together.
So, specifically looking at healthcare, I mean, PaperCut obviously works across the board in all verticals, right? Why the focus on healthcare? Ross, why is it? Why do we have a person at ecoprintQ, and Matt, you'll take this next, also you can have the same question, but why is it such a big opportunity? What is it about healthcare and PaperCut that, requires or, gives you guys the ability to support such a high level of investment?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's really two answers for that. Honestly, from a numbers standpoint, now there's a lot of people out there love their numbers. The global healthcare IT market was actually just valued at like $135 billion globally. Now, United States probably makes up for under a third of that. Let's call it 25%. That's still billions of dollars. And it's expected to grow at a rate of about 29% between now and 2030. So honestly, it'd be kind of foolish not to go for that slice of pie. So we're really big on that. And for us here at ecoprintQ, we just saw a huge increase in interest for healthcare as it related to resellers and customers coming forward and bringing opportunities. And then that in turn actually led to it becoming our #1 growth vertical. Hence me being the healthcare specialist and having a dedicated role with it being #1 growth.
So Matt, what are you guys doing to, specifically address healthcare as a vertical on its own?
So we have a team spun up behind the scenes that specifically focuses on this vertical. And you're right, PaperCut does a lot of things across a lot of customer customer segments. But I think it's about focus. So you can either, I think it's an old adage, isn't it? You can do 10 things really poorly, or you can do a couple of things really well. We do education, we do it really well. We actually, we well and truly outsell commercial licenses these days over education, but we needed focus. And so there's a couple of extra verticals that we're focusing on. One of those is healthcare. So we have a team behind the scenes. We have a strategic push within the organization. We have some goals and we have vision around what healthcare looks like for PaperCut in the short term and the long term. And, a lot of that was, right, let's go and find out who are the right players in this market and why are they making printing so challenging. And that's kind of where we've got to over the last 3 or 4 years while I've been, focusing on this customer market. There's 4 or 5 back-end systems, which was a part of our integration story that make printing really challenging. And that's what we've been focusing on. We've been focusing on building those relationships, making sure that we've got like formal integration partnerships in place. And then we go and work with those organizations and our partner network to make sure that we can solve some of these really challenging printing environments.
VDI, you guys keep talking about that. That with respect to Citrix. Ross, why don't you talk about that a little bit? Give me a little more, what does this mean to somebody out in the field selling who stumbles into, maybe they're not real familiar with healthcare. What does that mean to a sales rep who sells, tech, office equipment, office technology?
Yeah, sure. That's a great question. So virtual desktop infrastructure is basically giving users the ability to log into what you could call a session. Or literally like a virtual computer. It'd be as if you had the mouse control of my computer through this same Zoom meeting, right? You're able to access and run your programs and files somewhat remotely. So whether you are remote, like you are working from home, or you're actually in the hospital, there's some huge security advantages to this. Now, what ends up happening is it gets tricky when you try to associate the user with that said session. And so what's really interesting and what we want to kind of focus on when we're talking about VDI with our resellers and partners is that we can do it, and we just have to look at how we're associating the end users with those jobs, so that kind of like what Matt said earlier, we want them to get the right printer and to be able to print the job and to just be able to hit Control P. And a lot of that can get complicated for an IT department, especially since VDI is new for a lot of these healthcare partners. So imagine you're this large hospital. You've just brought on VDI to make security better, but now you're trying to figure out print. It really helps to have a reseller to come in that can understand that you're looking to associate users with physical locations. So you can say, hey, you're at this building over here. Here are the 5 printers that you want to see. And if they move, they should see different printers based on the location they're at. So those are the kind of things that we address so that, again, if a user just hits Control P, file print, they'll have the right options. And VDI makes it tricky for an IT department in healthcare. And we're here to help solve that and just make it easy so they can take that off their desk.
And so, when people watch this video, they're going to have some questions about this. And so the dealers that are working with ecoprintQ, is this a program they can sign up? Is this training they can receive? How can they learn more specifically about the healthcare, the VDI programs, and what PaperCut can bring to the table? Where does the training come in? Where do they learn more about this?
Absolutely. So we're actually starting up a monthly webinar series that's going to start next month, July. So it'll be the third Thursday of each month. So the 21st of July is the beginning, and anyone is welcome to join, whether they're an eco partner today or not. Maybe they're considering becoming one, or maybe they just want to know more about PaperCut and the play in healthcare. We're going to pick a new topic each month, and it's only 30-minute sessions. So it's really nice. They get quick tidbits that'll help educate them on things like VDI, high availability. We're going to touch on really the main talking points. But then also towards the end of this year in September, we're looking at the first week of September, roughly, first or second. But we're going to have an in-person event that I'm really excited about. It'll be here in my area, which is Denver. And we're going to host it at hopefully the Coors Field. More details to come. I should be getting this wrapped up in the next week or so, but I'll be sure to pass that over to you, Andy, so you can have that maybe as part of this video announcement that we'll have this great event that's in person as well. So virtual webinars and in person as well.
Awesome. We will share that out when you guys send it. Be sure to check back and get that information from us. Matt, some questions about Google. I wanted, before we finish this up, well, a few things. I don't even know if you're aware, but Google has an office, or had an office before the huge plague we're getting through. Had an office right across the street, right across the alley, I think, from your office in Portland, Oregon. And I know this because I visited that office, and it was you guys had Hangman going with them. And I'm just wondering, you've got quite a relationship with those guys. And the funny thing was, none of the people in your office had ever met the people in the Google offices, but they were playing Hangman. And I wonder, it's probably a very different Google office, but you guys have a relationship with Google, not just from Hangman, but also through healthcare, correct?
Well, we've got like this multi-level relationship. So not only are we a platform partner, we run a lot of the PaperCut infrastructure on Google. They're actually a customer of ours, and that's public information, which is really good. And lately, they've actually been a real promoter of PaperCut. So I'm kind of glad you raised Google. Like, it is an amazing name to have as a customer and a promoter of PaperCut. But that's one of the reasons why printing has become challenging in some of these organizations. I don't know whether it's really great, that common knowledge, but Google are making a huge play into healthcare. And when Ross is talking about like VDI, and I think one of the main players in VDI is Citrix, like they're one of the organizations that make printing challenging. What we find is each one of these large organizations, whether it be Epic or Cerner or Google or Citrix, they're off trying to solve their own printing challenges, but they don't necessarily collaborate with the other massive corporate. So as a smaller, independent software vendor, we're actually privy to all the problems that occur. And we're actually the ones that are introducing in some instances, we're introducing one corporate to another corporate to say, have you met, do you realize you're in the same space and you're actually, probably trying to solve common challenges? And in some instances, they're like, no, we didn't know that was the case. Other times there's been great relationships between Google and Citrix, but yeah, it's actually really interesting to watch this play out. But Google, a great promoter, like, wow, what an awesome organization, complex environment, great challenge to solve. And that's actually now playing out as Google being a promoter of PaperCut. As a matter of fact, in the last couple of weeks, we've had Google reach out and say, hey, because of our push into enterprise and healthcare enterprise with Chromebooks and Chrome OS, we want to bring you in and chat to a customer about a massive deployment that we're doing. So, how awesome to have another huge workforce promoting and talking about our product, and what does that translate into? Great customer conversations, great conversations with ecoprintQ, and opportunities for our partner network. So it's pretty exciting stuff.
Well, certainly a banner customer, right? I mean, it just that's one everybody would love to showcase. So congratulations on that. And more importantly, just the cross marketing and working together with them, and obviously Hangman. I don't know how that game ever finished up. But you seem to have a kind of a fun relationship with them. Ross, you've got some stuff coming up. You said Denver, it looks like you guys may be doing something, a baseball game. So that looks like something coming down the pike. Matt, you guys just launched a new version, I believe, right? Within the last couple of days, I think. Am I correct in that?
Yep, spot on.
So
Absolutely.
we'll
Last
have some
24 hours.
information about the new PaperCut version, maybe a link in this description of the video. Both of you guys, thank you so much for taking the time to come on and talk to us about PaperCut and ecoprintQ, specifically in the healthcare market. I just want to, discuss, just bring up one last time, just the opportunity that's there. It was the one industry that didn't shut down over the last 2 years. If anything, it got bigger, right? It got more complex. There are fewer companies in our world supporting it the way they did. And so, there's a lot of opportunity there. And you guys, both of you show exactly how that is when you've got ecoprintQ having a person dedicated to that, when you've got PaperCut having a person dedicated to just this vertical, right? It shows you the amount, and you actually referenced, Ross, some of the numbers in there, the billions in just the US market, but globally, right? So just a massive opportunity. You guys are both clearly focused on it. Thank you so much for joining us. Last shout outs. Ross, you first. Any last words? Anyone you want to say hi or bye to real quick?
Yeah, I'll say hi to the wife and kids, but no, I did want to just say, we're here to support you guys as your healthcare specialists, both Matt and I. That's why we're here to help support the channel, and we'll be happy to help 100% of the way. So we look forward to the challenges and questions.
Matt, how about you from the future?
I'll be out in October, so we'll make sure we catch up when we come out to a developer conference. And don't be scared of these environments, right? Bring them to us. We love solving challenges. We're the experts. We'll sort it out for you. So yeah, don't worry about it.
Yep, this is your support, right? If you're out there and you're in a healthcare environment and you get a little over your head, get in touch with me. I'll put you in touch with Ross and Matt, and they can help you, walk that customer through some print management discussion and how they can help them in the healthcare market. So, boys, thank you very much for coming on today. This was great. I really appreciate it, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Andy.
Sounds good.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Andy.